Joe, if you were ready, questions.
Jake, in Nashville, you guys couldn't buy a basket down the stretch to try to, kind of finish that game off tonight. It seems like at every turn when Wisconsin was making a run, you guys had a shot to keep it at bay. Was there something in particular that happened down the stretch, whether it was shot selection or something like that, that made that possible tonight, or is it just as simple as it's a make or miss kind of game?
It's a little more complicated than make or miss. There were some execution issues at the end of that game, and I think the disappointing part was there were some execution issues on stuff that we know, right? So we owned that, and I think the response was really impressive from our guys. I thought the ball moved at a high level today, which is something we've really been preaching and working on. But we had some guys step up in a big way, respond like we knew they would, and so some of that, like, we took ownership, I think, most importantly, of our fault in the offense in the end of the Virginia game, kind of end of the second half, and our guys responded in a big way. It was great.
Jake, you talk about guys stepping up and responding like you knew they would. I'm assuming Devin probably jumps to the top of that list. He got off to such a strong start. He talked about putting in a bunch of extra shots late at night. What have you seen from him these last 2-3 days since the last game that enabled him to have a game like this and a start like he did?
Well, his work has been consistent, but he doubled down on it. But I think what gave me great confidence is he said, like, Coach, I got you. I got this. And he took some ownership and studied the tape, and so he's responded when he's had games where maybe he hasn't been his best. So I believed him, and I know what he's made of. So I didn't know he was going to hit 4 threes, but I'm optimistic in general. So I just felt like it was a matter of time before he knocked down a couple, and then I think he took really good ones. We were able to get him some looks around the rim early, which was important. Tried to get him going. So yeah, he was, his approach and mentality and holding himself accountable leading into this game was really impressive as a leader, and I think a big reason, including the work, because it's not like he wasn't working right during that time, but I think coupled together, it was a big reason why he had to turn around.
Defensively, you said you liked a lot of what you brought against Virginia. The last time you played these guys, it was statistically your worst defensive performance of the season. What have you seen in the last week that's enabled you guys to put together stronger overall defensive performances like you had today?
Yeah, I think in the most simplistic way to put it, our communication has improved dramatically, and our rebounding's gotten better. So, Virginia was an elite offensive rebounding team, and for the most part of the game, we held them in check. Aside from the start with the offensive rebounds that Wisconsin got, we did a great job throughout the game rebounding the ball. So those two things have to be, it starts there. That allows us now, right, to scheme, and I think the way our guys have been locked in scouting and things is certainly helped, but being able to limit teams to one shot better, and then communication and how that's kept us out of rotation at times has been really good.
Coach, you said you had to get better spacing, you also want to rebound better, play with more physicality, and execute game plan from start to finish. How did the stars kind of align for you guys to put together your most complete game this season? And then how are you able to find so much success today?
Well, I think we just, we took ownership over the things we didn't do well enough against Virginia. We worked on it. Listen, there's with the stretch that we've been through, there's only been so much you can do on the court, because we got guys playing a lot of minutes, and we were in I think this is the 5th one, right, Gary?
Yeah.
Fifth game in 13 days. Like, that's that's hard, right? But we had to take some mental days with our prep where maybe we were a little bit slower on the court to try to give our guys a chance to be fresh in that stretch. That includes after the Virginia game, but not just forgetting what happened. And this team has done a great job, responding. It's resilient, and I think the focus has been really good, because we did have a lot to work on, and we got to keep getting better in those areas. That's that's been kind of our mentality this whole time, and I think that's allowed us to continue to respond at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of questions I was thinking of have been asked here, but first off, how's it gonna be to get a few extra days of rest? Cause I know obviously playing 5 games in a 13-day stretch, it's gotta be a physical toll with that, but of course you guys powered through in this one.
Yeah, well, I think our bench was really good. We got some really important minutes from guys, and, you know, we wore down a little bit in our last game at the end. In this game, I felt like we did a better job keeping guys fresh, utilized some longer subs prior to media timeouts, and utilized some timeouts. So it was important for us to just, you know, maximize as much rest time as we could for our starters. But we had some guys step up off the bench, which was great to see. And, you know, I think Tayson is getting used to playing more minutes, which helps, right? I mean, he's played now in the last 2 games a ton of minutes. Probably I would assume those are the highest minutes he's ever had in his career in the last 2 games. So, you know, I thought he looked more comfortable out there the longer the game went, which was really good for us. So yeah, we need some time. We obviously got to get healthy. These guys deserve a ton of credit. They've been battling a lot. Sickness, we battled injuries, we had guys who played today who didn't practice live yesterday because we've been going through some stuff, and that's life in the Big Ten and life in February in college basketball at the highest level. So it's no excuse. I just want to acknowledge the toughness that our team has showed in the last week or so. So they were going to get a day off regardless because we had to take a day off. But they earned the day off tomorrow for sure. Yeah.
You've said all season that you have such high level belief in this team, and maybe some people on the outside looking in, they haven't had that same level of belief. What do you think tonight really proved about this team?
Yeah, it proved that we can beat a good team, and we beat some good teams. But you know, this was really important for us because of the level that Wisconsin had been playing recently, right? I mean, you look at their last couple wins, and how they came about, and that's why, like, you know, I was coaching so hard throughout the second half and down the stretch because I just watched on film, you know, what they were capable of in a short burst. I mean, they are a really good team, and Coach Gard's done a great job with this team, and their backcourt is high level. So, you know, the score was almost like irrelevant, and we just had to keep staying the course, doing our job because they were so dangerous and able to go on a 10-0 run at any minute. So I thought our response was really good when they hit a couple threes. In this game, unlike last game, we responded with our offense. But listen, our focus is like continuing to get better and continuing to get ready for the next game. We're kind of taking this one day at a time. That's what our team wants to do. It's what served us well, and we're going to continue to do that. And our focus is all internal right now. That's it.
What specifically, I know it'll change game to game, but what specifically do you want to see carry over from tonight to your final stretch of the season?
I want to see our communication and rebounding defensively carry over. And, you know, this team has shown an ability to execute game plans well. We've struggled at times to sustain it for the entirety of the game. With our schedule, I mean, you guys know how tough it is down the stretch. So we got to have that sustained effort for the entirety of the game and be able to respond like we did tonight with our offense at times. And, you know, that was a great improvement.
Jeff, the night Bruce had, the milestones, pushing toward a triple-double. What can you say just about the way he played tonight and carries himself along the side of pursuing this scoring?
Yeah, as he's climbed up, you know, the ranks of the scoring list in our program, you're reminded of just the level of players that have come through here. And so, you know, it was great to have Will in the building. I mean, Will and I are from the same area, and I've worked Will out for years, you know, when he was playing pro ball, and it just, what an example of the family and brotherhood that we have in this program for him to be here. And as much as our former players come back, I love that. But I think it's, while we're celebrating Bruce, who I've told you guys is an every rep guy, he's not an everyday guy, he brings it, you know, he strives for excellence in everything he does. while we're celebrating him going through this process, like, understand all he cares about is winning. And this time of year, great players step up in a big way, and we've seen him do that. But while we're also celebrating him, we need to celebrate the history of this program. And it's a great reminder for the guys who've come through here and celebrate the careers that they've had. And I just wish you guys could be around every single day, because, you know, you wouldn't ask me all the time because you'd see it, right? Like, you just would get to experience, you know, what makes him so special, and he deserves and earned, you know, everything he gets. And I hate to say this, like, I'm not surprised that he played the way he did, because he's that good and he works that hard to get ready. But great players step up this time of year, and he's doing that for us at a high level.
Basically, was he at his best tonight?
I thought it was really impressive, yeah. I mean, eight assists, 2 turns, 9 rebounds, efficient. His response in the second half, you know, wasn't as efficient in the first half. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with his performance tonight. It's got to be one of his best in a time when we really needed it.
Okay.
Does that mean you're inviting us to come around whenever we go?
You guys know I'm pretty transparent as it is, so sometime, hey, the way the last couple weeks go, I might ask some of you guys to jump into practice. So be careful what you ask for.
All right, Adam, you can handle that.
Because I can't do it anymore. I'm on the side, so.
You're talking about Bruce. I know you guys value him in the way you're talking about, but do you think he is looked at externally the way that he should be in this program, and maybe even nationally, the view of what he has done and accomplished?
I don't know enough about what other people say. I know what coaches say about him, and I know what coaches think about him. And he should be, if they're not, he should be regarded as one of the absolute best guards in college basketball. If they're not, then they need to watch us more and go back and watch him. But I think the ultimate, no offense to anybody in here, but like when coaches talk about what he's capable of, I think that speaks volumes. And so I hope people are, you know, giving him kind of the credit he deserves for how he's performed.
And getting a ranked win, we talked about it a lot after the 6 losses. Do you think that maybe takes a mental hurdle off these guys? Like, we did it, we got over the hump, or is that not even a consideration at this point? You're just trying to win each game.
Yeah, I think we haven't talked about that, right? Like we haven't talked about, hey, we hadn't had a ranked win, but I'm just, you know, we look at our opponent, the next opponent, and in this league and our schedule remaining, every team feels like they should be ranked, you know, quite honestly. So maybe, because I'm sure guys, maybe some of our guys knew that more. So I hope, listen, if it gives us another edge or level of whatever, confidence, great. But, you know, I think we knew coming into this game how Wisconsin had been playing. We saw their plays, what they were capable of offensively. And I'm just really proud of the sustained execution on both sides of the ball we showed tonight against a really good team.
Jake, where does Broken for Chicken rank among your all-time favorite Ohio State traditions?
It's way better than whatever it was before that.
Assists.
Yeah, because I remember that I didn't understand. There was one game I'm like, why are people yelling at us? We're winning, and I told Gary, I'm like, what is happening? Like, because usually I'm pretty good at blocking out that stuff, but I love that we're screaming and trying to convince the other team to miss free throws. It's big time. I mean, they were 50%. They're a really good free throw shooting team, so it's great. Let's keep it going.
You took a moment after the game to just high-five some of the student section. What did it mean for them to show up on Tuesday night, kind of be there for the full 40 minutes and support you guys to the end?
Big time, big time. I think, you know, we're building something here, and you know, they deserve to watch this type of game. You know, I think those guys with the Nut House have supported us all year long, and you know, 8 felt like 9 o'clock tip on a Tuesday night. I mean, it was. I know my kids didn't make it tonight. My wife was able to come, but my kids couldn't come because it's late, and so. I know college kids probably stay up a little late and study, so it was nice of them. It was nice of them to take a study break, you know, and come see us. But their support's been really good. We need them down the stretch. I think that's a critical thing. Like, we got some big time opportunities here at home still, and we need this place rocking. I felt the energy in there. I think our players felt the energy in there, and you know, the Nut House felt like they were leading the way, which was great.
Connor out of the game.
Last time he played Wisconsin, it looked like Blackwell and Boyd kind of sought out Taysom at times defensively. Was there any kind of ownership that he had to take this game defensively with Junie not playing, just knowing that he's gonna have to be out there for 30 minutes and that those guys are gonna try to score on you, and it seemed like he was noticeably more solid on that end today than the first matchup?
I think he's shown steady improvement, you know, and the thing that I'm probably most proud of Taysom is like his response in the moment, and the coachability, and just like taking ownership over his mistakes has improved drastically in the last, you know, 2-3 weeks. And obviously, you know, when Junie got hurt and he and I talked about kind of what was next for him, I think he knows. I believe in him. I hope he does. You know, we talked about that. Talked about, you know, the importance of Taysom's got a high basketball IQ. He's struggled with just kind of communication and some of the things that just have taken some time. And I forget, and I got to remind myself, like, I know he's older, but he hadn't played, and so. There was some kind of, like he and I talked, we kind of had to draw a line in the sand and get him to do some things to really help us and kind of get over the hump. And once he started doing that, like, I had to follow through on my end. And I told him, show me improvement, like, keep working, keep making small strides. And he's done that defensively. Certainly offensively, he's been able to score with some consistency, which is important for us. But I've been impressed with him taking the ownership over defense. He's watching film. He's doing all the things that good players do, and he's, you know, kind of in his first year of playing really playing it all, but playing major minutes. And we're seeing, I think, steady growth during that time. Like, even tonight, there was a play, he messed up. I coached him. He took ownership and had great confidence putting him back in there to execute it the next time. And so I think that's a great sign for our team and for him personally.
Bruce compared Amari to his freshman self earlier, just because he's out there, he's playing a ton, he's playing with older guys. He said, you know, he reminded us that Amari just turned 19 recently, and said that he's playing with older guys, so we're going to hold him to that standard that we hold everybody else to. I know it wasn't the plan for him to play 30 to 35 minutes, but how much do you think he's matured over the past just month or two?
He came in with maturity, and he came in with a great approach, and I think that's why we've seen this improved consistency as the year's gone on. And I told him early on, because it was obvious to me really early that he was going to play a major role on our team. And so I told him, I said, you know, I have to be able to coach you like an older player, because you're going to be playing older player minutes. And certainly it's unfolded that way. But I've said this before, I love coaching him. He has a lot of similarities with how he approaches practice every day, the joy he brings, how hard he works, like the consistency he operates with. He has similarities to how Bruce was as a freshman, you know, from his character and just, you know, how he is when he walks in this building. And it's really, he deserves a ton of credit, because there aren't very many freshmen in the country, you know, who are playing the minutes he's playing. And so he's got a great deal of confidence in him, love coaching him, and I think he's embraced, you know, being an important role on this team, and he's doing it at a high level. His rebounding the last 2 games, because that's an area he and I have talked a lot about, has been big time. He gets some big rebounds tonight. So, I mean, he can keep making threes. That's great. You know, we can keep that rolling. But his defense has gotten better. His rebound has gotten better, and I'm just really proud of kind of where he is right now. But make no mistake, it's not an accident. Like, he's worked for it.
Go ahead of that game.
I know you're gonna try to win every game here, every game matters and it's important, but is there any part of you guys down the stretch that does look, everybody's got an opinion on who's in, who's out, where the bubble sits? Do you ever glance at that stuff as you head down the stretch here, knowing, hey, this win could do that to put us in position when it comes to the tournament?
Yeah, I think this time of year, I mean, I've been around college basketball for a long time, so you're aware of, you know, the importance of every game. I think you can get caught up in that stuff too much, because at the end of the day, no one really knows, right, until this stuff plays out. So I want our guys focused on the task at hand. That's what we're doing as a staff. We gotta prepare our guys as well as we possibly can to have a great practice, and then, you know, prepare as well as we possibly can to have a great game. And so, with the way our schedule plays out, and the reality of where we are, like, we've got so many opportunities, you know, and who knows how many you need, how many you don't. Like, it eventually, at the end of the day, will matter. But if we're on an emotional roller coaster game to game, that's not the healthiest thing for us to perform at our best. So I want our staff, I want our players focused on the task at hand, and right now it's, quite honestly, it's getting a day of rest and you know, spending some time in the training room, and you know, we'll be watching film and stuff and learning from the areas we can continue to grow in this game, celebrating things we did well. But we gotta turn the page quick. I mean, we got another big game coming up, right? So that's how it is the rest of the year, and I love that. I love that we're playing in these big time games every single time.
Jake, first of all, if you need a shooter for scout team, I got you.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Put that to the
My question
test.
for you though, I can stroke it. Anyway, my question is for you, how do you keep your guys locked in? Obviously a big game in East Lansing on Sunday, just ride that momentum and try to get back-to-back ranked wins.
Yeah, we focus on preparing well, and our focus is internal right now. Like, what do we need to do? What can we control? And how can we, you know, do those things at the highest level? We're used to playing in big time environments. That's life in the Big Ten. You know, we know that place is gonna be rocking this weekend. But, you know, we're a good team, and we've shown an ability to play well on the road. But like, our focus is just right now having great prep work, getting ready for that. And that's the next one. That's the one we're focused on. And obviously it'll be a great environment. It was CBS, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I love weekend, February, like CBS, like that, those games. This is what it's all about in college basketball. So we'll embrace the moment and make sure we're ready.
Do you have a favorite road Big Ten venue?
And I feel like if I answer that with one, it's like could get twisted, you know,
Fair.
wrong. But I think there's multiple, and you guys don't get to see them all. But I'm like, it doesn't matter where you go in this league. It's a fun, hostile environment, and I think it's one of the things that makes the Big Ten so special. You know, obviously, what Coach Izzo's done at Michigan State, like, you know, and the history of that game. Right, some of the shots that have been hit on both sides at the end, like, you know, that game's going to be rocking. It's the same way same way when we've gone up to Purdue. Same way when you go over to Indiana. But I'm telling you, like, you go to Rutgers, like, that's a big time environment. You know, it's not as big per se, but I mean, it's a hostile environment, and so there's great fans all over this league. We got to keep, you know, I think we got the biggest building in the league. We got to keep working to improve ours, and you know, we are appreciative of what Ross has done to help with that. But yeah, it's you got to be tough to win on the road in this league, and we got a tough team, so we'll be ready.
Thanks, Coach.
Is that politically correct?
Yeah, perfect.
Coach Jimmy,